All right, everybody. I am here with Quokka. Am I saying that right, by the way? Quokka?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
Quokka.
Quokka?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll just say Quokka.
doesn't
I'm
matter.
probably gonna get it
Yeah, it doesn't
wrong.
matter, dude.
All right. What class do you want me to play?
Um, bring an STG, man. Have fun.
Oh my God, he's blessing me.
My God, everyone's talking about random shit in this truck. Gotta mute him. There we go.
All right. So, what were you doing before Hella Loose, like gaming wise?
Um, my gaming experience up until Hell Let Loose was super different. I in my early 20s, I was like moving around a lot, so I only had like a PC. Sorry, not a PC, like a laptop. Um, and like my PS4 that I'd cart with me. So I would really just play like lots of single player games, uh, Paradox games, Total War games, that sort of thing. Um, Never really got into like my own experience with shooters before would have been like playing those like single player co-op COD campaigns on my mate's couch. Like never really did any sort of FPS shit beyond that. Um, yeah, and I to this day I don't know why I bought Hell Let Loose because it's just not my kind of game. Um, I like I have this memory of buying it. I either bought this or I bought like Postscriptum maybe, and then refunded it after like a week. So I just like not into it, not about it, whatever. Um, and then for some reason I gave it another shot, and yeah, got hooked, obviously. Um, but man, I remember it was really hard for me when I started.
Right.
Like I would, if I got to the end of the game and I had like at the end of a pub game, obviously, and had like 100 combat score, I'd be like, fuck, I had a good game.
Right.
Like that was my level. Um, yeah.
How quickly did you get involved with a community after you got the game or got into it?
It took a while. I was playing on a bunch of different servers, and obviously, I wasn't good at all. So there's no like, oh, people. There's no like, no one was like trying to recruit me or anything like that. And I was just trying out a bunch of servers and whatever, and then I found a couple communities. One was called Foy Boys, um, and the other was called HFKT. So I was like trying to decide between the two of them, like, who to join. And I think I ended up joining HFKT because um, I found the Discord easier or some shit. I don't know. Um, and yeah, I just joined them and started playing. Like it was very casual. It
Right.
wasn't some sort of like comp recruitment thing or anything. But yeah, that would have been back in like 21, I think. Yeah, 21. Start of 21.
It's a pretty decent long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people always talk about this game in terms of like updates. Like, oh, what update did you come in? Do you remember this update, that update? I've got no fucking idea, dude. Like,
Right.
all I remember is like times when mechanics change and it pissed me off. That's how I like quantify this game.
Right. I feel
I
that.
could not tell you what update it is.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same for me. I think I remember
Yeah.
update, I think 14, where the British got added in just because it was like not a good update. There were broken things, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yep.
really remember any other
Like
ones. So
most.
yeah. How long were you on that clan for before you moved over to somewhere else?
Technically, I'm still there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So the way let's go through like the whole history, I guess. So like the way that it worked back then was so HFKT was part of like a I don't know how to describe it, like a syndicate, a corporation, whatever, like basically like an umbrella organization.
Mm-hmm.
That had a bunch of smaller communities in under it. So it was like HFKT, Four Boys was there, OC, NRD, and then there was some other squad shit. I don't know. So and that caused a lot of issues, I guess. Like I wasn't involved really with the like management of the community or anything like that. Like I was just there. I was just a player. Like your basic blueberry.
Right.
But yeah, there was lots of angst because there's like this sort of like controlling thing or whatever. Like you couldn't really do what you wanted. There was issues with like, you know, like community growth and that sort of thing. And eventually like it became too much for like the leaders of HFKT, and we basically, well, I say we, they decided to merge with this community that was not affiliated with this umbrella corporation, Big D, to basically go our own way. And that was 2000. When was that? That would have been 2022 sometime. Start of 2022, I think. And yeah, and that group became Chimera.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit.
So, how long did it take for Chimera to start like dabbling in the comp scene after it formed?
Basically immediately, like the whole goal of the group was to like was to do comp essentially.
Right.
Up until that point, there hadn't really been any exposure in like the OC community to competitive whole let loose. There had been the odd game. I know AAF did a couple against some Chinese teams. Big D, like once in a blue moon, would sort of like get together and play a team. I think my first comp game was actually with HFKT, where, because I don't know if you ever met a guy called Jungo, but he used to be part of the camp. But then he also had affiliations with HFKT, and basically he organized like the scrim where like I think we played with the camp against the Spree.
Mm-hmm.
So shortly after everything that happened there, on Foy, and like we got our shit pushed in, man. Like none of us had really like had any experience of competitive hell let loose, and like we're just so bad. It's utter trash. I was talking to Magic last year about it or some shit, like well after it happened, and like he's just like he just could not believe like, you know, like the level of incompetency that you know we were like putting forth at the time. But we really had no idea, and it was just like eye-opening of like just what the level is.
Right.
So we had that, and like Big D would get together, like get all like the smaller communities together and play against other teams, or we'd do like sort of round robin tournaments where we'd have like, you know, a couple teams teaming up, like a team teaming up with another team to play another team teamed up with another team, and just sort of like do like some round robin thing within Big D itself, and like, and that was kind of fun. It was sort of like a taster, but we played a couple scrims. So HFKT did a series, I think, with this was before my time as well, like just before I joined HFKT. Actually, they did like a series with AIF called Thunder Down Under, which was, I think, Inchon streamed it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Nop has had something to do with it as well. but yeah, so that got some like good exposure and like sort of like, you know, relationship going between the two communities. And then before we teamed up, we played another couple scrims. 3Para got a bit involved as well, and we sort of decided like we want to do this properly. So yeah, we basically teamed up, and like it caused a lot of drama. Within, you know, for some members of the OC community had a big problem with it for whatever reason. And yeah, so that's kind of it. We just started playing. I remember our first game actually was against the Chinese team Evo, which they're not around anymore, unfortunately, but we played them on SME. Point was hospice, and we had no idea that you could like jump on top of roofs and shit.
Right.
And you could like make wheat fields like disappear. So we were just like, we only lost 3-2. No, we lost 4-1 at the end, I think. But like, fuck, that was insane. Like just MG shooting you from like back on all like the roof jumps were possible as well on hospice. And just like my squad was just like there to like push across that open field, going from whatever that top second point is for Axis, going up to the hospice point just across that open field. And that was like that was my first comp experience with Chimera, and it was brutal, man. Really brutal. But we had some good people around, and they you know, they went and like sort of like found all the shit for us like the other teams are using in terms of, you know, like settings, how to do jumps, that sort of thing. Went back for a rematch at Evo shortly after that, and only lost 2-3 this time, so that was alright. But
Right.
yeah.
So when did Chimera get into its first seasonal? Was it like right after it started, pretty much?
So my first like awareness, I guess, of seasonals would have started in that one with the Core TL final on SMDM.
Mm-hmm.
When we really started following it, like I'd never heard of it before. Like I hadn't heard of any like HLL comp until that point.
Right.
And so yeah, we're sort of watching that, and like a mine. And we were thinking about like, oh, like should we join? Should we not? It's like, nah, level's probably too high for us right now. Like we want to like manage the team carefully or whatever. At this point, I was like part of like the competitive leadership of Chimera. So it's like, you know, part of that whole like decision making process and whatever. But our first tournament was actually HCA. The first iteration of HCA after it had like changed from, I think it used to be HPL. Yeah, so we joined that, and that would have been in start of 22, I think. And it was run very differently back then. Like it was still separated in the brackets in terms of like, yeah, the top teams playing the top teams, and like the shit teams playing the shit teams. Obviously, we were like part of the shit teams, and I really liked how they did that. Because it gave teams like us like this opportunity to basically play against guys that were, you know, closer to our level, rather than like playing, you know, like core WTH Greyhounds, Spree TL like on a weekly basis, which would have just fucking murdered us. Like no one wants to play games where you're just gonna get like 5-0'd like, you know, in 15 minutes every week. Like you want to have like some level of competitiveness. So yeah, and it was sort of like it was a much longer tournament as well. So that one went for like, the first half played, and then like there was the fall, I think it was fall 22 seasonal as a break, and then you went to play the second half. So we played the first half of the HCA, like we lost our first game to Sesh 4-1. But then we went on to win every other game from that point, and we decided, fuck it, let's just let's try seasonal out. And yeah, we signed up for the fall 22 seasonal, and man, that was a good time. That was a really fun tournament.
How was y'all's performance for that seasonal? Did y'all do pretty good?
We did way better than I thought we would.
Right.
Like when we started this team, the expectations were really low in terms of just like, oh, maybe we can win a few games, and just like we never had any concept that would actually become a decent team.
Right.
But so we started. So back then it was sort of like a 4 stages, I think, like first stage, second stage, main stage, playoff stage. And we got to the main stage, the last game of the main stage, where we lost to WTH 4-1 on SME, which was, I unfortunately couldn't play that game. That was like the first game I'd missed since Chimera started, and I was very upset about that because I really wanted to play WTH. But I was on a holiday, and I was just like watching the stream from like my hotel room, and just like, it was really good to watch because like the guys did so well. But it's always hard to watch your team play when you can't actually be in there affecting the game. But yeah, like we did well to the point of like we beat every team that I think we should have beaten, and the teams that we lost to. Oh yeah, that's the fucking tournament where we played a spree on Remagen. So that was like our big scallop, even though it's sort of like, got that caveat of like, yes, it was on Remagen night though, and the point was on your side of the river. It's like, yeah. I don't really care.
I've actually heard a lot about that since I've been in a spree, and I think y'all did a meme in one of the matches. I think it was APL we played against you guys in, where you had the map flipped to Remagen when we were loading in. Everyone got a kick out of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that game actually, like, that was a big moment for me because I was like, I was doing the map bans, and obviously that map choice came up, and going to Remagen at any point is like risky, but Remagen night especially, because like you're basically limiting yourself realistically as allies to a 1 in 3 chance of winning. If you're, and that's if you're decent. I still think that any team that is like way better than the others will still win no matter what. But yeah, so that was a bit of a call, and people were very upset, to say the least.
Right.
That we went that way, sort of like, oh, like, no faith in the team, yada yada yada. And I was like, fuck, let's be realistic, man. Like, we have no chance of beating a spree on a normal map. Like, let's not fuck around. But yeah, so we got there, and like map starts, flips on our side of the river, and just like the fucking ecstasy. Oh, that was a good match. But yeah, so we did well in that season. We did very well.
Trying to think. So fall 2022, and that was the season that Core and DC fought right at the very end or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the hill.
That
Hill one.
Yeah, that sounds right, because that's when I started playing the game, pretty much, or really playing the game. I had the game sooner than that, but I didn't stick around.
Right.
I've been walking past a Stewart so many times, and I could have satcheled it, but I haven't, because I thought we were allies for whatever reason. While I'm running around with an SCG, what the fuck?
Fair enough. Yes, that was the core DC. I'm pretty sure. Was it? Yeah. Because there was that one season where everyone was playing Hill 400.
Yeah.
I think that was the season after.
I think that one actually got coined as the Hill 400 seasonal. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so we went through that, and then we went back to HCA for the second half. And the second half was a lot different because you had like So initially you just did like GXV was in there as mixture of glows and 13th. I think it was just glows and 13th. But they like sort of formed up to become Helios, which meant like they took on a bunch of other guys from other like smaller NA communities. It was like really good players.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Chinese teams that were involved, so Sash and Alpha were still the big ones, and IR as well. So we were still doing pretty well. Like we had only lost that first game against Sash. So we went through into that second half and like we won the rest of the games in sort of like the group stage. And then got to the playoffs and, you know, played a bunch of Chinese teams. And then got to the final against Helios on the Hurtgen. And ended up winning that game. And yeah, won our first tournament. Which was very happy about that. Because Helios is a good team. Like, Helios now is obviously like next level.
Mm-hmm.
I've picked up a bunch more people back then. Helios and no joke either. Like for our level, like sort of that mid tier. Because like whenever you talk about Hell Let Loose, you always have to differentiate between like, are you talking about like the top, or are you talking about everyone else? If you're talking about everyone else, Helios are a good team. Because it's just not fair to like, you know, put everyone in the same fucking boat.
Yeah,
especially back then. Yeah.
Oh, give me 1 second. So, like, during this time, what roles and stuff were you playing? Like, were infantry or...
Yeah, I started squad leading. Like I've played like honestly fucking every role. I've even played a comp game in a tank, which was hilarious. For those that don't know, I'm fucking terrible at tanking. So yeah, I started squad leading, and then sort of moved into like running the defense unit of the team. Then I was doing that for most of it, really, like right through that HCA stuff, the seasonals, all that. Then what changed? We played a game against a spree, and it was on SME. We lost 4-1, mainly because our tankers were just really good that day. But the big problem that we found was our like MG presence across the board was just fucking woeful. So, you know, I went after the game and like I had a chat to Incheon, just like looking for advice on the whole thing, and like, you know, he gave me some, and basically like I went away from that and being like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to MG. That's gonna be my thing. And so yeah, from that point on, like I probably MG'd like through the next seasonal, and I still go back to it from time to time in games. Sometimes I play, I think like the seasonal before this one, I was really just playing general infantry. And now I sort of like alternate between MG, general infantry, and squad leader, depending on what's needed. But yeah, I try to avoid squad leading where possible, not because like I hate the role. I don't think I'm good at it.
Right.
I think there's people that are a lot better at it than me. And I think that I can serve the team better from sort of just like assisting the SL. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Kind of logistical infantry type of deal.
Yeah, or just like, they're sort of, always like, got their eye on the map on the whole time, and like sometimes, so many voices in their head, it can be like hard to keep track of everything. So if I can just like be that person who has no distractions and can just like fucking be a backseat little cunt, then I'll do that. Game that's not going well.
Yeah, we're getting owned.
But yeah, I'm also like I'm now at a point as well where like I hate MGing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like I'm finding the gameplay so fucking boring. Like the last season game we played like against EG, like I ended up MGing the whole game, and I was not happy after that. I was like, this is not what I was supposed to be doing. But yeah, like I'll do it if if it needs to happen, then I'm happy to do it. Well, I'm not happy to do it, but I will do it.
Right.
But that's kind of my general attitude towards Hell at least at this point.
So is Chimera kind of taking a step back, I guess, from the comp scene, or?
Good question. No. This is something I've thought a lot about, like basically like what the fuck's happened. Because obviously like we were at a point last year where we were like, really hitting our stride, like being really competitive against top teams, beat a few top teams, and friendlies and whatnot, and like feeling really good, and then like fucking get to like tournament time and we just fell apart, and I don't know why to this day. I have theories that basically center around like we were never good. We have very good players, but the way in which we played the game was not good. So we'd end up basically, what we used to be able to do is basically like just power through other teams off the back of like very good shooters. And just like we're very good at like we have that that quality pool especially with like nine teams where it's like their appetite for the grind is just insane, and we used to have that as well.
Right.
But I guess like people just sort of lost. They lost their appetite for the game essentially. I mean, not they, we, because I'm included in that. Like, we our prep work for games was not good. Our the synergy within the team was just sort of like it wasn't a really good environment. And I just think all those things coming together, and just like also just a lot of other teams just like getting good, and like we also had we had a bad run in the last season in terms like we came up against some really good teams.
Right.
And a couple of them were sort of like on those like sort of 50-50 you might win, but like it just didn't fall for us. Which and that kind of sucked. But since then, like, we are definitely on a rebuild path. Getting people back is one thing, which we kind of do, but then it's just like getting the system working again
Yeah.
is the harder thing, and like we got like quite a few new people in as well, and it's just like getting everyone up to speed on like like making good decisions in games, making sure we're all working together as a unit, that sort of thing. Like the things that make Hell Let Loose comp like interesting in the first place, where you got like 49 people trying to work together. In a computer game is kind of mental. And those are the things that we're sort of trying to, get like back to basics kind of thing. Like, how the fuck do we play this game properly?
Right.
And we're getting there.
How often have y'all been scrimming? Like every weekend or?
Yeah, once a week. We've never really been able to do the twice a week thing, which is a point of contention. I'm very much of the opinion that let's just fucking do it. If we need people, we'll find people. But everyone's like, that word burnout has just been like the bane of my existence since we started like playing Hell Let Loose Comp. Like, people throwing it around. I'm just like, oh, fuck off with it. Like, like it's a word that I don't really believe in, I guess. Fuck me, I'm bad. But yeah, it's symptomatic, I guess, of just where the game is. Like, it's just trying to find the appetite.
Right. So you're in the seasonal org, right? I believe I'm
Yep.
correct about that. So when did you get involved with that, and how did that like kind of come to be?
So our first seasonal, that was also the seasonal where a bunch of Chinese teams came in for the first time. So initially it was just like CNUT and Trigger, and then you got a bunch more in Sesh, Alpha, JTIR, Evo, missing a couple I know. But there was lots of, and the only reason I mention them is because that's when a lot of like these issues sort of started, in terms of like accusations or whatever, like directed towards Chinese teams, and like that sort of like, warranted or not, like it got pretty bad. And so I just sort of like, we were like new to the scene and everything. I was a rep, and I just like saying what I thought, I guess, on the subject. Just having input where I thought that it was warranted. Because we did have a fair amount of experience with Chinese teams. Like, most of our scrims are against Chinese teams, just because of it's easiest with time zones and servers and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like halfway through that seasonal, or maybe like a third of the way through, I don't know. Heidi messaged me and just asked if I'd be interested in coming on board. It was supposed to be next, like the seasonal after that I was supposed to come on. But it's just sort of like, what do you think? Like, yada yada yada. And I was just like, yeah, I got time. I'm happy to help out any way I can. And I don't know if you remember Schmitzkatze.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was on the organization, but like he left like partway through that seasonal, and they needed someone else, and I'd already had that discussion with Heidi. So
Right.
yeah, I came on that seasonal, and so my first seasonal, I guess, which was kind of wild, but Yeah.
How's that been? Like, kind of dealing with everything and like the complaints of the teams and.
Um. So I think that what's going on right now just a is just indicative of the state in which the game is in. I think that lots of people are really frustrated with how stale the game has become.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that people lose sight of the fact that this game is like it's I don't know, like it's not it's not a major thing, you know, like, and you have to try and remember that as an organizer, that, you know, to just sort of like chill out on a lot of the stuff, because like it's not a, if you get like super emotionally invested in this game to the point where like it's you know, having like some sort of personal effect on you, then like
Yeah.
you're not healthy, bro. Like you're really not healthy. So from our point of view as like, you know, like volunteer organizers, like, you know, we try and do the best we can. Obviously this season there have been problems, and I think a lot of that is just really to do with there's been a massive changing of the guard from an organizational level. Like, you know, obviously Heidi going out was a big one. Schmidt's
Mm-hmm.
going. Nitro came around like kind of the same time as me. I think just a little bit after. Magic going out. Uh, Jane is still kind of around, but sort of in the same capacity as Heidi. So it's really like this brand new team, essentially. Like the fact that like there's still Abu, obviously, but the fact that, you know, I'm, you know, one of the more experienced people on there is kind of wild to me,
Right.
because I definitely don't feel that way. Uh, but yeah, I think, yeah. So because of that, like, you know, there have been a few things that have just, you know, got wrong. But I wouldn't like overreact to the importance of it. Um, you know, it's, you know, definitely a learning process for, you know, a lot of people, myself included, being in this position. Like at the end of the day, like you know, we are trying to do like the best we can with it, but yeah, like, you know, you'll get shit wrong. It happens.
Is there like a workload kind of breakdown, like people reviewing things, or is that more of like a
Not really. I
conglomerate?
mean, yeah, it's more of a conglomerate. Like when it started, like I would basically like just sort of assist in some ways. Like, you know, I'd help Schmitz out with, because Schmitz ended up coming back for a bit, with like the scheduling. I would help Heidi out with the formatting, like tournament formats, and then just like problems as they arise. Just, you know, it's all like a group thing. It's never one person like making calls on like, oh, whether or not someone's cheating or what the right action to do in this situation is, like, because no one person can have that level of like power. Like you need input from different people, and that's
Right.
sort of why the mantra that we always try and stick to is working with other people. Like it can't just be us as a group coming to decisions for other teams. You need to work with the other teams, get
Mm-hmm.
their inputs, get their insights, get different point of views, so that you get like you get a more complete picture of what's going on. Um, and that's ultimately how you avoid it. Like we are not like some big overarching organization. That's not our model.
Right.
Our model is like, we are here to organize a tournament, and that's the end of it. That's full stop. Um, Going beyond that is just like, yeah, that's not a road I'm prepared to go down, because like it's, you know, it's our time that we're like volunteering, and it's other people who are volunteering their time to like play for teams, and like you want to create the best experience for everyone involved on, you know, every side of the equation. And the best way to do that is to just like have people work together as best they can.
Have you had like a favorite and like least favorite time as a seasonal org?
Yes. My favorite time would have been like when I just started, I think, and like so the first 2 seasonals were really good. But I think that's really just because like yeah, um, the game was in a healthier state in general. As the game has deteriorated in terms of people's opinions of it, and yeah, just in terms of people's opinions of it, the enjoyment out of organizing it has gone down considerably.
Right.
So yeah, that's that's just how it goes, man. Like, ooh, there's a garrison. Fucking ping. It's human nature to just like when you get frustrated with something to just sort of lash out and just like get difficult, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it also reduces my ability to like want to deal with it when I'm not enjoying the game or like the general experience. Then it becomes very difficult for me to like remain like engaged in the whole fucking process.
Right.
Which and that's obviously a big issue. Which that's a personal one for me to deal with. But yeah, so like, would be the best case scenario for me would just be like if everyone just like fucking chilled the fuck out and just remembered like what this game is and why we're here, and just not take shit so fucking seriously.
Right. That I don't know if that's in the Hell Let Loose community's
No.
abilities.
That's the definition of a pipe dream, my friend. Ah. Yeah.
So, do you have like an idea of how long you'll be able to kind of stomach it, or do you think you'll just be able to tough it out like the whole time for like Hell Let Loose's or the seasonal's life, whichever one ends first?
Well, I mean, the question of how long seasonal is going to last is an interesting one.
Right.
But I think, yeah, I don't know. I go week by week at this point. I definitely don't want to like. There are times that I'm just like, oh fuck, I just want to like switch off,
Yeah.
But that's just not fair to like the other people on the team who are like, they're new to it and like they're trying to like do the best they can. So yeah, we'll see. I don't want to make any statements, of like, oh, like this is like my last one or whatever. Like,
Right.
you just don't know. Maybe I'll have too much and I'll like left the Discord tomorrow. Who knows?
So, when did GBI kind of come in to the OC scene?
So I don't want to speak too much about their origins because I don't know fully.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they've been around for longer than Chimera has as a community.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. They, from what I think I know, they sort of started as like a bunch of people that were like also dissatisfied with like the way Big D was like structured and run, and so they're just like, fuck it, we'll make our own thing. But it wasn't with the view like Chimera was to like to do comp or whatever. It was just to like be a different community. Yeah, and then they sort of, when they started playing comp, so they came in start of 23 in that seasonal. They had sort of been like, playing scrims, I think. I don't really know. I think they'd been playing scrims. But yeah, like we really wanted, like, well, I really wanted, more like OCU presence, and so I was like talking to a bunch of teams, about trying to get them on board, and I remember I was talking to some people at GBI a fair bit, trying to get them to like jump in with 3 power, and like there was a little bit of hesitancy in terms of like, oh, not sure about numbers or whatever, and but eventually they just said fuck it and they joined up,
Right.
and yeah, now they're here.
They've honestly gotten pretty impressive since like when I first got into the comp scene till now. I think they've improved like a lot.
Yeah, they're definitely the most improved team in general, and I think a lot of that is down to, it's sort of like an antithesis almost of like what Chimera's done over the past years, what GBI's done, in terms of like their system is very strong, and I think it's always been very strong. But what they've been able to do over the past year is sort of supplement that with with more players. And so yeah, rightfully they are, definitely up there pushing the top teams to get in there.
So has the relationship with Chimera and GBI like been pretty close, you'd say, like throughout
No.
history? No.
No man.
Oh.
We it's ups and downs, man. Like I think when it started, yes, it was good, but then the difficulty here is that you have, oh sorry, I should probably make a fucking squad. Easy. Use a bar because that's fun.
Gotcha.
The difficulty is you have individuals on both teams that are absolute cunts.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, these are the people that interact with each other the most. And the outcome of those interactions is what everyone bases their opinions on the other team off. So my interactions with GBI players, for the most part, there have been some fuckwits, but for the most part, has been really good.
Right.
But it goes through motions. It's the most fucking bipolar relationship, man. Like we, like there was this period of like this animosity, and then we, got all buddy. We got together and played 18s together in that internationals, and that was really fun. And then it fucking deteriorates again, and then now it's like I think it's coming up again, but I don't fucking know. I'm like, I'm disconnected from the whole thing. So yeah, I don't know. I just think that's just the state of play, and that's how it's going to be.
Right. I feel like there's a lot of that in like most communities, to be honest. Like you always have like the one or a few people that kind of shit post on each side, and then it kind of just becomes like a
Well, I mean,
downhill thing.
you play for a spree, you know all about that.
Yeah, I have been quoted as the only or the Esprit's only shit poster, so I do a fair share of it, but usually mine's not as I don't know what you'd call it, not as like aggressive shit posting. I'm kind of a memer, I feel like, so I don't really.
I
I'm
mean,
not a big
memes
shit
and
talker.
shit posting is whatever. It's just when it gets to like that point of being like, really aggressive. There's like, all that like emotion tied into it. Like I was talking before of like, if you're at a point where like you're putting like raw emotion into your shit posting and memes. Like,
Yeah.
get some fucking help, dude. Jesus. Like, it's not. This game doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, it's a fucking video game. Just calm down. And that's not me talking to any like one particular group of people. That's fucking everyone. Each team's got their own people that do that, and like, oh, I find it like, yeah, I find it very hard to deal with personally. Like, justifying that kind of behavior or putting up with that kind of. Well, it's not putting up because like it's not like that's the wrong phrase because that implies some sort of like hierarchy when there isn't any.
Right.
But just like having to experience that behavior, I guess, is
Right.
just, yeah, no one wants that, you know.
Well, I mean, I guess you kind of do have to deal with it sometimes, right? Like if it gets too heated, like in the seasonal chat, and like people are
Oh, well,
posting
then
some
you just
fuck
ban
shit.
people.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard.
But then you get to read the floods of messages of, the seasonal
But
org
yeah,
is
and
oppressive and shit.
yeah, that is fuel. But yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that like has sort of people have like stopped understanding because there used to be an understanding in that seasonal is like it's a very different place. Like it's got to cater for every denomination, which means that you cater for like the tamest at the end of the day. So things that might fly in like, one community's Discord, might not fly here. And you can play like a dumbass and be like, oh, well, where's the fucking line? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have to question where the line is, then you're probably close to pushing it and you should stop. Yeah, and like we don't hold like the presence of people on our like the idea of banning someone from the Discord is not a big deal to us at all
Right.
because it doesn't matter. You're not banned from playing seasonal. You're not banned from whatever the fuck. Like, you're just banned from one particular Discord. There's plenty of others you can go to and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to be putting in like huge amounts of effort into like managing those people. Because why would we? Actually, there used to be seasonal moderators actually,
Right.
but they stopped like right before I came in. We should bring them back. See if anyone actually wants to do that.
So I always had like an interesting thought on the comp scene for Hell Let Loose and why the devs might not be involved with it.
Yeah.
And my kind of gist on it is I could see why the devs possibly wouldn't want to get involved with the comp scene or like anything that's not ran by them because I think of like a thing happening where like say a team does something like really fucking crazy, like something that'd be offensive and then
Yeah.
it would be involved
Yeah.
with the game, and then if the developers are involved with that, like there could be some serious like backlash, I guess, from the outside of the Hell Let Loose community. Like that could be something that would happen. So that's always been kind of my thought that a lot of the reason why they don't get involved is because it's not something that they run. The behavior of people will definitely be a hindrance on them getting involved. So
Yeah, I think that certainly could be a factor. But ultimately, I just think that like what they would have to do to change the game, I, it doesn't make sense for them to like to get involved with it just from like a purely financial point of view. Why would you cater to a group of people that already have the game and aren't really going to be providing you revenue streams? I mean, so like the best example is like the current state of the game. Like from my understanding, and I could be wrong because I haven't looked at the numbers, so fact check all you want. Gameplay numbers for Hell Let Loose at the moment is like as high as they've ever been. Competitive engagement is as low as it's been since I've been here. So you can see like there is not a correlation between people who play the game competitively and like the quote unquote health of the game. So for a developer who's interested in like, making money, which is what, most developers would be, why would you cater to that group essentially?
Right.
Oh,
I think there's also like or at least more so the question of like spotlight, right? Like if they're obviously if they have like the finances or the time or the people to help with the comp scene, but at least kind of giving it like a showcase, at least, trying to get numbers up on Twitch, right? Like get more people watching the game. They might not know that the game has like a comp scene. I know they've mentioned like in dev briefs like tournaments before, but
yeah, like you get shout outs, and like there was a time when like Addy was like working quite closely with the then Black Matter devs in terms of like trying to get engagement and exposure for seasonal. And ultimately, what you just get is lots of empty promises and pointless conversations. So yeah, it is a shame because the game as it is like is a really good game,
yeah.
but it is not a good competitive game.
I agree.
How the fuck did we lose this one? Yeah, and I don't know really what sort of state. Like, I don't know how much longer like competitive Hell Let Loose will last. I think it will go for a bit, but like it's definitely on the decline. And that's just through that opinion just comes from like the players that we have playing the game at the moment.
Right.
In terms of numbers of teams, especially. And I actually don't know why it took this long for this to happen. In terms of like small teams and players merging into more established teams and better teams, even though they won't get like rostered every week or whatever, but just like for the chance of like actually being competitive at the top level. Yeah, I don't know why it's taken this long. It seems like such an obvious thing to do, and you cannot like have a go at someone for doing for like wanting to go down that road. Like if you want to join a better team because you think you've got a better chance of like winning, then fucking go for it. Like winning is more fun than losing, dude. Yeah. I mean, we used to get like 32 fucking teams signed up for seasonals, and now we're like struggling for 20.
Right.
Which is a shame, but like there are still tournaments out there for the small teams in terms of like, ECL, I guess, and that's just only for European and APL, HCA to a degree as well. Like, I think there was like a push this year with seasonal to like accommodate the smaller teams more. And to sort of, I guess maybe like entice them in or whatever, but hasn't really worked.
Yeah, I think
Seasonals has always been about like, the bigger teams.
Yeah, I think that's been, or to me, that's the biggest thing is I think there's a lot less teams because the smaller teams don't want to get involved. Because, like, if I look at the APL, there's maybe 4 teams that compete in the seasonals, but there was like 16 or 18 teams overall that I can't remember. But they were able to, like, a lot of them were able to almost field like 49 or 50, or close to 49 rather.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, yeah.
It's hard to get to the point where you can compete with a seasonal team. Like, even the lower level seasonal teams that play will like mollywop other teams pretty much. So
Yeah, but I guess like we used to have that good spread, and there was more of those like mid-level seasonal teams. I guess like, we used to have like the fucking 2 Spanish teams.
Sev.
South American team. Well, those 7, those 501 ES.
Yeah.
No, 50. Well, there's 501 ES and there was 501st. One of them was South American, one of them was Spanish. 501 ES was Spanish. 501st was South American. But you had them, and then you had Bastados.
Yeah.
As well from Spain. Some German teams as well.
HTD.
There used to be a couple French teams. Yeah, HTD. There used to be like 2 or 3 French teams. Now they've all become one French team.
Yeah.
More NA teams as well, especially. NA is a big one. Like we're down to what? 3.5 NA teams?
Yeah, something like that. And a lot of that, like a few teams had merged into one. And, I mean, less teams, but, I mean, it did make a really strong team that's very competitive, so.
Yeah, I'm not like one of those that's, just start talking about like Helios. Oh my god, that tank nearly ran me over. Like Helios kill comp or whatever. Like I think that's absurd.
Yeah.
I think it's just like they are simply the byproduct of what has killed comp, which is just a very stale game.
Well, it's hard to make like a big breakthrough in the comp scene without having like a huge number of veterans or more veterans coming onto the team, and with everybody being aggregated the way they are, it's very hard to get into.
Well, I mean, that's why, like, for me, what happened with Chimera was, like, kind of a big deal, because we never had that, like, those veterans sort of, like, in the team, like, we were all starting from scratch.
Right.
And I think that's why we've got those system issues, because it's just, like, we were just sort of winging it, and you can't wing it anymore.
Yeah. Raw talent will only take you so far.
Yeah.
You find that out. You see that in the APL quite a bit, and having that structure kind of nailed down is probably the most important aspect on the team, or at least the cohesion, not like your mid-game decision making and everything.
For sure.
Why are all these matches getting 5-0'd, man? It's messed up.
I don't know. It's kind of fitting. Talking about Chimera getting 2 pub matches 5-0'd. Fitting for where we are, bro.
Is there anything you'd like to talk about that I may have missed?
No, I don't think so.
Usually I'll go back and watch the interviews and I'll be like, oh, I should ask him this, so.
Well, I don't know. You can fucking DM me if you want an answer to something else.
I'll just tack it on at the end, just DMs.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say to the rest of the HL community or the comp community, or shout-outs to anybody?
No shout-outs. I don't know. I feel like I've said everything that, like, I would say to this community. I definitely said more than I thought I was going to.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, just getting back to like enjoying the game again would just be really nice. But
everyone needs to.
As you said, it's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
Just need to calm the fuck down. Yeah, that's basically it, man.
All right. Well, it was good having you, dude.
Thank you for having me, dude. It was, very fun.
All right. Well, hopefully I get to see Chimera in another tournament. It'd be awesome to see him bounce back.
Oh yeah, I think you'll see Chimera around. They'll be around for a while.
Wait, you're not? Is Chimera competing in this season? I can't remember. I don't think so, right?
Yes.
We are. Wait, you are?
Yeah.
Oh shit! My bad. Oh my god.
God damn.
What the fuck? Well, I haven't been paying attention to this one that much because it's been like very.
Clearly.
Well, I've had to miss like half the matches and shit like that. But...
Right. That's all good, dude.
Which group? Hold on, I gotta go look at this. Hold on. This was
E.
Criminal. that I just did that. I'm so sorry.
Fine, dude. No, we're in Group D with like WTH, EG, IR, and ICF.
Oh my god, yeah, there's Chimera versus Phoenix.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
You know, start the interview again?
Yeah, let's restart. Let's get
Okay.
How the fuck did I not? Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
That's a little funny.
EG, ICF, WTHIR. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. What a. There you go. I don't do research. I didn't even look at the tournament that I'm playing in.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that though. I mean, it's more natural.
Yeah, because like I looked at the format the first time, which this isn't a complaint. You know, this is just a lack of brain cells on my end. And I looked at the format and I was like, oh my god, this looks like calculus, dude. So I just I didn't look back at it. I just wait for Excel or Inchon to post the matches, and I'm like, oh, I can go to that.
Yeah. I don't blame you, dude. Like, it's every year we have people like it used to be Muck all the time. Shout out to Muck. Like someone explain this shit to me and like put like videos out especially for Muck. It's fun.
Yeah, Excel put a video out because I kept like talking like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I just tell me what team we're playing next. And he put out a video like going through. He's like, so this is how the format goes through. Like you play this team, and if we win, we play this team. If we lose, we play this, or they spin for the next set. And I'm just like, okay. Well, I listened to the whole video, and I literally don't understand anything still. So.
Yeah.
And that's not his fault or the org's fault or anything like that. I'm just an idiot. Like,
Good, dude.
Yeah. But. All right. I guess there we'll say. Now, it was good having you.
Thank you for having me, man.
And thank you for setting me straight on that. I did not know about that.
Oh, good, buddy.